me because I was squeaking in the snow, let alone the cold. I don't know. I mean, I was in pajamas and just a little. And opposite the house was the embankment, the railway embankment. The train was passing it. So I had to get myself up, which I did. And the moment I was up, the dogs started barking from the other side. And there were shots all around me. And I fell down. And I lay there in the snow on the actual rail track. And I was lying there, and the shots stopped. And the dog stopped barking, and no shots anymore. And I was lying in the snow, face down. So as I fell, I didn't move. I don't know for how long. I don't know for how short or how long, but there I was, and I thought I've got to wait and see either I curl myself down, back, or the other side. I could hardly get myself off because I was getting, the ice, my face was in ice. And it was all quiet. No more shots, no more dogs. So after a while, I, without getting up, standing, I crawled myself down. I went down like a snowball, full of snow on top of me. And there it was. And I managed, I don't know how, because after all, there they were with the guardsmen and dogs. The dogs stopped barking. And I managed to get on the other side of the street, opposite the embankment, and started walking. And I never thought for one split second that I will make it.
Were there any people in the street?
No. It was curfew. In the street,
Soldiers?
nobody. No, of course. It was eerie, like an eerie town. Not a sound. I could only hear myself in the snow. It was completely eerie. And I was walking, and white, because the snow white and this moon with it, I was like a blot on the landscape. That's what I was, because it was dark and I was walking. And as I was walking, this is the longest street in Lvov until today. It's known for it. The longest, kilometers. 1 or 2 or 3, something like that.
What is the name of the street?
Kleparovska. That's what it was called. What it is called now, I don't know, but it was called Kleparovska. You want to put it down? You want to write?
Yeah,
you need a pen?
No, I haven't. I'll just find it. A few pens?
I'll give you a pen.
No, I have. I'm sure I have.
Come on, let me give you a pen.
There we go.
Yeah, you've got it. In the depths of it. Kleparovska, yes. And I was walking, and then it occurred to me, what am I doing? Because on both sides of the street, further up, were some kind of, I don't know whether they were koszary, barracks, military barracks, which were not before the war. They were some institutions before the war, but here they had military barracks. And there was always, day and night, a soldier standing guard outside. Wehrmacht, they were soldiers, normal soldiers, on both sides of the street, one opposite the other. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? And that street has no side streets, nothing. Once you're in it, you're either going up that way or you're going this way, but you can't get into any side street. There isn't. They don't exist. And so, how am I going to do that? I should be caught. And I'm thinking and walking, thinking and walking and walking and thinking, what can I do? Should I go back now? I'll be caught, no doubt. I've got to go and stop my mother. I have to stop her. That was my one thought in my head. I've got to get there no matter what, no matter what. And I was walking, and I see now the two guards, very close. And I was convinced that either of them, this one or that one, they'll stop me or they'll shoot me or they'll take me or they'll whatever, but I'll be stopped. But I wasn't. I was walking right past them and nobody did anything. And I was convinced that I'm going now to be shot in my back. I go and pass, they're going to shoot me. But they didn't.
So they chose to ignore you. Another miracle.
That was, now how would you call a thing like this? What would you call that? And who was I? I was a child. Don't forget, there's a child walking. Where from? Only from the ghetto, because there is nowhere else. At 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, in curfew, in a pyjama, in slippers. Who was I? Who was I? Obviously. And they let me go. And I went past them. And I was going and walking and walking and walking, non-ending the street, until I wanted to come at the end of it. There were always tram depots, and they started and finished there. And I wanted to go take a tram to get as close as possible to my mother, not to walk through town. No. So I put myself inside, and I got in there already, okay. I put myself inside this tram, one of the trams, which I knew that was going around that area. I knew my Lvov, of course I did. And set myself in the corner, somewhere in the corner, put myself down in a corner, stayed there. Cold, it was terribly cold, And within, I don't know, very shortly afterwards, so it might have been 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, I don't know, young men started coming in. Workmen, the first workmen going to work, so it must have been 5, 6 in the morning, I have no idea, though. Started coming in, and one after another, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then the place was full, and people looked away, and nobody saw me. I mean, they saw me, but nobody saw me. They looked at me and turned away and went on. The tram was full. The conductor came in. The conductor tickets. He looked at me and turned his head away. And nobody said a word to me, and nobody gave me away. And that's why I wrote that they were my heroes, these people. Nobody did a thing. They looked and looked away. And I managed to get very close to where my mother was. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
It really is unbelievable. But that's how it was. So to me, these people are heroic. Because, if somebody did not denounce you, it was a wonder. We were being denounced left, right, and center. He's a Jew, he's a Jew, she's a Jew. It was enough. It was quite enough. There's a Jew, somebody came, took you, and shot you. It was like that. And here are all these people, the tram full of these workmen. Ordinary people, ordinary workmen. And they never saw me. And these two men standing guard.
But basically then, if you were a Jew, you lived in Lvov at that time, you couldn't know how any person you met in the street is going to behave. They could
Of course
become your instant enemy or your instant hero.
You never knew. You never knew. Absolutely not. Because, as I said, we had so many against us in Lviv. So many who were brought from there to be guardsmen, to be this, to be SS, to be in the SS, in the Sonderdienst, in the whatever. Horrible people. They were henchmen. All of them were henchmen. So, it's just beyond comprehension. Really, it is so. How that Palec Boże, I don't know what to call it. I really don't. Here, but for the grace of God.
Yeah. Maybe meant to survive.
But what does it mean meant to? What does it mean meant exactly? We don't know. We don't know what it means. I am meant to survive. Why not this one meant to? Why not my little brother meant to? What did he do to die like that? So
nothing. Nobody deserves
so
that.
So meant to. Who meant me to survive? Who?
I don't know. But you said.
I'm
said
saying.
Palec Boże.
Yeah, well, that's right. Is it Palec Boże, or is it coincidental, or what is it? Mm-hmm. You can ask many questions and you can't answer them.
No, I don't think there is an answer.
There is no answer. I can only say, as I said here, but for the grace of God, go up. Because maybe. But I don't understand. If that is so, then why was God graceful to me and not... why would I be the one to be chosen to live and not somebody else? That makes me feel it's a trauma.
Yeah.
Which one carries all life long. One lives a so-called normal life, with all that normal life gives you or offers you, but that is something that you carry in, like a guilt, terrible guilt feeling, although it's not a guilt, but it is a traumatic thing. It's like a trauma of survival, the trauma of survival.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this Polish-Jewish writer. She was born Irena Librowicz, but she lives in Israel, and she's called Irit Amir. And
of course, yes, Irit Amir. Yes, of course, yes.
In her poetry, that's
what
she explores.
Course, yes.
And there's this very touching is not the word really. It's absolutely heartbreaking. A tiny prose poetry that she wrote,
yes.
A page and a half. But basically, she's talking to her childhood friends who didn't survive, and she survived.
Actually, yes.
And it's the same thing. Why?
No, this is it. I mean, this is a rhetorical question. Nobody can answer, nobody can, logically you cannot. Logically you can't. If you're a very spiritual person, like my daughter is a very spiritual person in every respect, and she can answer that spiritually, but logically you can't. You cannot answer why am I going past a guardsman who doesn't even stop me, let alone kill me, let alone give me away, but doesn't even stop me. And yet, here will come another who will look at me and kill me on the spot for no reason. So, it's non-ending question.
Yeah, and I can only imagine
Yes,
how heavy a burden
it is
those questions are.
It is very. You carry this burden all life long. You, as I said, one lives a so-called life which is normal, because otherwise, I mean, one will go berserk. But you try, you live, you do, you see, you sing, you go, you meet people, you try, all of that. But the moment you want to go back and think, it's beyond.
I do apologize sincerely for taking you back.
Well, you
know,
can't
making you tell the story.
Well, if you want to write this book, this is what it is. That's why I never wanted to write a book. I never wanted. I never wanted to have a book. I never wanted to write a book. I never thought it was of any use.
I think it is.
So anyway, but it is, you see, I can tell you, I was asked a few weeks ago, or 3-4 weeks ago, to present some awards to children to whom I have spoken before, and these children asked to see me again, and that if they're getting an award, could I? So of course I couldn't say no. I said okay. So there I was, 2 hours each way, embarking somewhere, and so yeah. And when I came with these 10 children sitting there, and hello, and they were very pleased, and they were all about the age I was at that time, 11, 12, so they were that age. And the headmaster says, and they greeted me so very nicely and all that, you know. And the headmaster says to the children, look, if you would like to ask Lili a question or something, I'm sure she won't mind answering. So don't be shy. You can speak if you want to say something. You may speak. You know how children are sitting and they're shy. So a boy. I said, yes. So he said, my name is, I said, what is your name? My name is Samir. Okay, very nice name, Samir, very nice. What would you like to say? You remember when you were telling us that you were lying in the snow, and when you escaped from the ghetto, it was some time ago, and the boy is 11. How long were you lying in the snow? I said, I can't tell you, I don't know. I didn't have a watch. And even if I had, I don't think I'd have looked. I don't know how long. It could have been half an hour, it could have been less, it could have been more, can't tell you. But the question, the child that bothered him, how long can one lie in the snow and get up and go? Huh? Imagine. Then a little girl lifts her fingers. Well, you remember when you said you were hidden with this German lady, a German lady. Yes. Did you trust her?
That's a
What a question.
very good question.
What a question. Did you trust her? So, and when I am confronted with such things, then I'm thinking, maybe there is something to it when people say it's very important that you should say it, that it's important that it should be put down, that it should be written, because I would say, who cares, who would bother, these children, amazing how they listen to what you have to say. And I don't stand there speak about myself only. I speak in connection with others, with other people. I talk about me, but not particularly like I'm now sitting telling you my story. No. And they take out things they remember. And the whole school was sitting there in this enormous, room there, sitting on the floor, listening, like you could have heard the pin drop.
I think it is very important.
It is incredible. Incredible, because these are actually Muslim children. These two are Muslim children. So, what these teachers do nowadays, not all, but there are some fantastic teachers who, thanks to them, these children learn all sorts of things, how to grow up and be a human being,
And I think especially now, when we have all those nasty things surfacing
Exactly
again,
what's going on.
it is really very important.
Sure.
To
That
have
I
those
think
stories.
that particular generation, that those youngsters today, if there are more of them and more, then maybe this world will pick up somehow.
Yes.
If it's still there.
Yeah, there's hope. Yeah.
Would you like me to give you some more tea, or
No.
would you like some more cake?
I
please?
think I'm good. I have
No,
asked
but
you all my questions for today, so
you have?
I'm not gonna. I have few more, but they can wait. And
But you can ask me why
no,
not?
because the next bit is really gonna be about Ingrid Wied, so I can add it to
Not
the next
Ingrid,
part.
Irmgard.
Irmgard.
Yes.
Sorry, apologies.
Not at all. But I
um,
mean, so long as you have her name correct.
No. And obviously, I mean, you will have all the text once I have it.
Thank you.
Transcribed and edited.
Because at the moment
No.
I am correcting. I can't tell you the corrections.
I know you told me about the Polish book.
And that's more. There is more. I was sitting for 2 days. So many corrections. And it's not that people. It's not that. It's simply it's very difficult for them to. It's easy to overlook something, or it's easy to make a mistake, very easy, and the facts are very important. That it should be correct, that the date should be right, if there are any, and so on. So that should be.
Yes.
So it's
No,
a lot
absolutely.
of corrections.
I mean, I picked up on preparing for today's conversation that in
from
Professor's
the
book.
Absolutely.
There are dates mixed up in November. In one place, it's 18th of November.
It is the 18th of November.
And in the transcribe of the interview from English, the one done by the Vashem people, it's 8th of November.
No. It's simply no. They skipped the one.
Yeah.
It's it's easily done. I mean, to err is human.
Yes.
So it's simply transcribing for. It didn't come out. The one didn't come. So there you are. Of course it was the 18th of November. That's why it's very, very difficult. To. Somebody said that if one wants to have a book about oneself, one should write it oneself. It's true. Because you know what you're writing, you know what you're saying, you know what you have to say, and so on. But I never ever wanted to write. I don't write badly, but I could write. But I can't write about myself. I never could. I never could stand up and talk about myself, and I could never have written a book about myself. I could have written